Welcome to the Friday live stream by the AI Guild. Hello and welcome wherever you are. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. Here's what we're going to be doing today for you. So, we're going to be looking at technical profiles. We're going to be looking at examples of technical profiles as you can use them on LinkedIn or a CV. And the focus today is going to be the data scientist. So, if you are or would like to be a data scientist. So if you are or you would like to be a data scientist, I hope that this is relevant for you because we're going to show you how to present your technical profile. And this can be presenting your technical profile to your current employer or perhaps to your next employer, or if you're freelance, to your clients, including the question, of course, also of how you will continue to develop your technical profile over the next 1, 2, 3 years. So we're going to address all of this and we're going to dive right in. We're going to dive right in by showing you an example and inviting you to look at this. So here is a technical profile for a data science lead. And I did take a lead on purpose just to show that this is relevant to you no matter whether you're at the entry level, you're mid level, or senior level, or actually you're beyond. So, this data science lead person obviously is somebody who's been in the industry for many years, has a technical leadership role, and is sort of at the director level. Okay, you see here technical skills. And the first thing you perhaps see is that it says 5+ years of Python, SQL, GraphQL, Java, and CI CD. So this is like the highlight. It's like the entry. So technical skills, what is it? What is it that you bring to the table? What in particular would you like to be considered for? And you have freedom here of what you mention. And as you can see, this ranges from Python to CI and CD. Also because you would expect a data science lead obviously to be fluent in Python, but also already to have a particular specialization. So see here, GraphQL. And then, of course, to be familiar and have experience with CI CD. So the point here with the technical skills right at the top is to say, I can do this, I have done this, I have done this many times. So this isn't kind of like, your knowledge or what you learned at university or something like this, or you learned in a boot camp. It's what you do. You do every day where you're an expert. So technical skills here, 5 years, Python, SQL, GraphQL, Java, CI, CD. Then if you look at the rest of this technical profile, you see data, machine learning, and document processing. So these are specific areas where this person has deep expertise. And as you can see, it goes from data to machine learning to document processing. So this is a particular specialization. So this is a data science lead actually for document processing, including NLP, and also some part of computer vision as it is relevant to processing documents and actually handling text. Okay, the data here includes data engineering, data mining, and data analysis. This is also because if you're a data science lead, this is what you're supervising. This is what you're supervising the other people on your team or the department that you're leading, what you're supervising them in doing, the engineering, the mining, and the analysis, if you're building pipelines for continuous integration and continuous deployment. And then here also mentioned is the machine learning. And then perhaps if you have a closer look at it, you see that a lot of this is classical machine learning. So linear regression, classification, clustering, and so on, the random forest. And then again, here you have graph neural networks, so GNNs. And this corresponds to the GraphQL that we mentioned above, and is actually something that is special, but also very valuable, and that makes this profile stand out. This ability to handle GraphQL and graph neural networks. I don't know, it's, for example, a technology that is intrinsically used at a company like Facebook, if you think about social graphs, for example. Okay, so we're diving in with this first example. And this example, like all the other examples that I'm going to show you, have been drawn from the AI Guild and its members. So the AI Guild at the moment is 1,800 specialists in data analytics, data engineering, data science, machine learning, deep learning, NLP, computer vision, and ML ops. If you are with us today for the first time, sorry, I wanted to actually you you can become a member. So you can go and find the AI Guild on the web as theguild.ai. I will include this here in the chat for you to see. So you can go and find out more about the AI Guild by going to the guild.ai, and you can also join as a member there if you like. So today we're going to be focusing on the data scientist. But the question is, what's your data role, or which data role is for you? So there are other ones like data analyst, machine learning engineer, NLP person. And many practitioners actually, in this sense, have more than one professional identity. So it could be that you're working, I don't know, as a data scientist with modeling, but you also have machine learning competence, or you really are a machine learning engineer, but you have a strong interest in NLP. So it, of course, maybe that more than one data role is for you, and technical profiles can also really carry this ambiguity. So they can, in the way you organize them, show that you are competent in more than one role. But the technical profile actually typically corresponds to a role or more. So, and this is really important to keep in mind. So, and also to keep in mind that the wider part. So we're looking today at the technical profile. We're not looking at business skills. We're also not necessarily looking at your data experience or your wider professional mission. Today's focus really is on the technical profile for the data scientist. And what's the point of the profile? The point of the profile is your opportunity to guide your reader. So you use headlines for comprehension at a glance. So here in front of you, you have some examples of such headlines, like, for example, structuring a technical profile by saying programming, databases, visualization, analytics, modeling. Or at the very end, you have Python, machine learning, NLP, and MLOps. And just by looking at these concepts, by looking at these headlines, a knowledgeable reader can intuitively, at a glance, understand where you're coming from and what your particular expertise is. So, more examples to make this understandable. So we're back with technical skills. You see here a number of headlines that I just mentioned as an idea. So data acquisition and instrumentation, data processing, and data science. So this is the profile of a data scientist, and it starts at the top with 5+ years for Python, shell scraping, GNU Linux, and then actually it says SQL 2022. So this also, in this particular profile, means I've been using Python for a number of years, and I actually have a high level of proficiency in it. And we're in 2022, and I recently complemented this by also learning how to handle SQL. And I feel really confident about this. And then to underline these 5 years of Python, the line below then says Panda, NumPy, Matplotlib, scikit-learn, and so on. So, you get specific. You don't just say Python. You actually mention your favorite tools or libraries to give the other side, the reader, a really clear idea. And then something special here, co-published Python software. So actually was engaged in Python software development, which is obviously a really strong point. Okay, moving on this example, you see data acquisition and instrumentation, data processing, and data science. And then the point here, of course, is that you want to be specific, that you want to give the other side then at the second glance a clearer idea of what this means. So I'm going to pick on the data science here, where it says, linear regression, model fitting, feature engineering, clustering, dimensionality reduction, ensemble modeling, and compressed sensing. So you make the data science specific by actually listing activities or tasks you're able to perform, things you've done in the past, things that you feel strong about. And the point of this here is to say that, I'm a data scientist. I feel competent as a data scientist. I've used many things that are essential to modeling and model building. Notice also that under the headline data science here, it doesn't include, for example, deep learning stuff. There's also up at the top with Python, for example, no mention of PyTorch or TensorFlow. Just like under data science, it doesn't have neural networks or deep neural networks or convolutional neural networks. So this is a selection, and this is really important to understand the principle of showing your expertise by not trying to list everything that you've ever heard about, but to actually really focus on where you have your expertise and to make that really explicit and clear. This is also the idea that if you do something like this and you show it to your employer or to your next employer, that you're ready to be queried about this, that somebody can give you a challenge about it, that if somebody asks you to give an example, you have all of those because you have done it before. This is your expertise. So I have another one for you here that at the top starts with technical skills: Python, R, SQL, Tableau, and Stata. A nice collection. I think it's also legitimate, for example, to include Tableau. Yes, it's a piece of software, that's an application, but it kind of sort of, at a glance, gives me a good understanding of the technical skills. With Stata, I can then have sort of an idea what you might have also been doing if you were using Stata. And then it says here, data science, machine learning, and statistics and inference. Now, I'm going to go to the statistics and inference right away for a moment. So it says here, the general structural equation modeling framework and Bayesian learning networks and survival analysis. Now, maybe you know some of this, maybe you don't. Doesn't matter here. The point is, you say something about statistics and inference, and to make it specific, to make it understandable, and so that the reader can grasp, what this means, you give some examples of stuff that you've done. And then it is interesting here to have the point about statistics and inference. So this is kind of like, in the background to data science, but it's interesting. So if you want to be a data scientist and you're actually good at statistics and or mathematics, and you have that and you've used it, it means that you're able to look at models and also evaluate the quality of models, judge the underlying equations that went into it, and so on. So this is a really interesting thing for a company that is using data science and is modeling and putting models to production, to have somebody they can trust to actually understand whether they're doing makes sense, and makes sense in a more broader way. This is not just about the accuracy of a model, but actually understanding the quality of a model. So above that, we have the data science and the machine learning. And then in the data science, I would like to show you that it says R and Python. And yes, R is, say industry usage of R is not that widespread, or not that widespread any longer. But nevertheless, it's part of what you can do, part of your background. It also shows that you are actually able to switch between two languages, so R and Python. I think that's also really interesting in the sense of you being a practitioner that can compare languages, can compare tools, can compare offerings, and kind of judge them and work with both, and perhaps also understand where R has particular strength and where Python is particularly useful. So these are good things to highlight. Next example. Technical skills. Here we have 7 years Python, and then just, so to speak, a list of tools and libraries. So this is, if you saw, like very much focused on Python, that's also fine. So the one before had Python, R, SQL, and more. This one here just focuses on Python. That's fine. It makes it clear that this is. And then under data manipulation and visualization, it has SQL, Tableau, Matplotlib. So this is your technical skills profile. You are principally always free on how you present it. And it depends who you think your audience is, and also how you see yourself. On this, it depends what you show or don't show, and also how you organize it. The main point, again, is, please organize it, make it easy for your reader to get at a glance what you are, professionally speaking. And then here we continue with machine learning algorithms, deep learning frameworks, and software practices. So particularly also the software practices at the end, I would like to draw your attention to. So we have here a technical skills profile that includes elements of software engineering, or highlights software engineering capabilities. This is really relevant in the context of Python development, of coding, of quality coding, and a certain speed in the delivery of things. So if you have that, I think it totally makes sense to highlight that in such a profile. Okay, so as you're watching, and if you have questions, please pop any questions that come up in the chat. I will pick them up and answer them for you. Okay, so now you have seen a number of such technical skills profiles, and they've also always included an indication of proficiency. And I actually encourage you to do this. So far you've seen simple examples that sometimes, or for some of those, mentioned a number of years, like Python 2 years or 4 years, SQL 1 years. Here, this is actually a fictitious example, um, just to show that for the reader at your company or at a new company or your freelance client, it makes sense to understand at a glance that you're a regular user and for how long you've been a regular user. Now, if it says Python 2 years, this doesn't necessarily mean 2 times 365 days, but it does mean that you have been a regular user. Now, there is some scope in defining regular. So this can be daily, it can be weekly. For some stuff, it can only be perhaps bi-weekly. But if it's only on a monthly basis, like 1 day a month, then probably no, you're not a regular user, and then no, you can't reasonably claim that you've been using Python for 2 years. And then if you've been using Python for a year, and then there has been an interruption of 6 months, and then you picked it up again, then it is legitimate for you to count the months and the years in which you have been a regular user and to put that there. So 2 years ideally means continuous user for 2 years, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So if was some discontinuity, that's fine. You just count the periods that you have been a regular user. So this is how you handle the years to indicate proficiency. And then on the other side here, you see sort of like a scoring system that has 3 dots. Fictitious example again, data analytics, time series, machine learning, ML ops. And so I've seen this being used on CVs frequently. You can do it, you don't have to, but if you do it, please don't use a 5 or 7 dot system or score yourself 5 out of 7, or use a bar chart to indicate this type of proficiency it doesn't work. So it really needs to be simple for your reader, and it's really like 1, 2, 3. So 1 means I somehow sort of have experience, but I don't feel confident. 2 means I am a confident user, I have done this before, and 3 means I'm good at this. And that's actually all the other side needs to know at that moment. So 1, 2, 3. And if you rate your own skill as only 1, you might as well not include it on your LinkedIn profile or your CV, because you're just learning. But if you have 2 or 3 dots that you would give yourself and you feel confident about it and you're ready to be queried about this, then you can use such a visual schema to make it even easier for your reader and help them understand at a glance what data role you're in and what your strong suite is. Okay, we have like just 5 minutes left on today's. So here, another example, I want to show you how you can use these technical skills to visualize something, and just in case you're wondering, the person got hired with this technical skills profile. So what you see here is data science, statistics, programming, and operating system. Personally, I don't think it makes a lot of sense at the moment to still include operating systems. This person did it. That's fine. It worked. So you would want to focus on data science, statistics, programming, perhaps visualization. You see here the dot system in operation. Those in the know can probably see that the statistics actually means that the person was in physics, in particle physics, before starting a career as a data scientist. He's now a senior data scientist. But there you go. So something like this really works well for the reader, and they get at a glance understand your skills profile. And yet another example, so the final example for today, another piece of technical skills, this time data science, machine learning, databases, and deployment. So you get here a data scientist profile that is geared towards handling databases and also handling the deployment. On the deployment, it's actually specific, so it says Docker, and then it mentions the AWS ecosystem. So this is clear. Same for the database. PostgreSQL and MongoDB, so language and database. So it's also again really clear for the reader, and then very many years again of Python usage, of regular Python usage, augmented in 2022 by additional skills. So I've shown you examples and talked you through those examples to give you an understanding of how a skills profile on your CV or in your LinkedIn could look. So on LinkedIn, you have that about section, and in the about section, it's exactly where you could list something like this. And it's much better than writing 10 lines of text. Yeah, this is kind of like clear. People know how to handle it. Hiring managers know how to read this because they can understand whether you bring the skills that their system or platform needs. So this is really a short, sharp, and sweet way of making this clear. Now, we're regularly online and live on LinkedIn, but there's also something else that we do, and that is that we publish. So every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, a new publication comes out that is about data careers, that shows examples, that shows you competency profiles, that talks about your LinkedIn or CV and the technical skills that you should have. Also, some of the other things like business and organization skills. So we have a publication on Medium called Fluent in Data, where every Monday morning at 8 in the morning to start off the week, something fresh comes out that should be interesting for you and provide a moment of reflection for you to kind of look at and further your career. And then my final point today is we're live on LinkedIn. And being live on LinkedIn means that you can also find us on LinkedIn. So the AI Guild has a company page. You can search on LinkedIn and you will find us. And if you like, through that company page, again, you will see that you can join as a member. If you're not a member, yes, so you can join as a member via sign up below. It says here, that's exactly how you'll find it on the page. You go to sign up and it redirects you to the website and you can sign up to be a member of the AI Guild. Okay, with that, I'm actually through what I would like to talk to you about. So if you have any final questions or comments from me, please let me know now. I will be waiting for that for a few seconds to see if something is coming. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to go live now every Friday at 12:30, and it will always be something specific. So the next time around, we're going to be looking at technical profiles for data analysts. So if you know any data analysts and you would like them to benefit from this, tell them next Friday at 12:30. We're going to be focusing exactly on that sphere. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, wherever you are, and hopefully see you again.